They gave Caitlin Clark a technical foul for clapping her hands. She called it ridiculous, dared the league to pick the game she would be suspended for, and her own team filed an official appeal. Then the WNBA reviewed it and did something almost nobody saw coming. They looked at a technical foul for clapping, and they decided it was correct. If you want the full story of how one clap turned into a league-wide firestorm, stay with me, because the ending is not the one everyone predicted. And if you follow this team every single week, hit subscribe so you do not miss what happens next. Now let us get into it. June 22nd, 2026, Indiana Fever versus Phoenix Mercury at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This was not a quiet game before the drama started. The Fever fell behind by 13 points in the first quarter, then dropped a 35-point second quarter to tie it at 41-41 by halftime, and rode that surge to an 86-77 win. Clark finished with 24 points and 9 assists. By every normal measure, it was a dominant night. But nobody remembered the box score. What they remembered was 8 seconds in the fourth quarter when a routine defensive foul exploded into chaos. Clark got tangled up with Mercury forward Dewana Bonner in the paint. She was called for a personal foul. She walked away from the pile, and then she brought her hands together in one hard pointed clap. That was it. That was the whole crime. The officials teed her up on the spot, and the whistles did not stop there. In that same sequence, technical fouls rained down on 5 different players. Bonner got one, Alyssa Thomas got one, Fever guard Sophie Cunningham got one, Maisha Hines-Allen picked up 2 and got ejected. 6 technical fouls in one short stretch of basketball. And in the middle of all of it, Caitlin Clark now had her 5th technical foul of the season for clapping. Here is the part that turns this from a bad call into a real story. Clark did not let it go. She took it straight to the podium, and what she said put the entire league on the clock. In the post-game press conference, she did not reach for the careful, polished language athletes usually use when they want to complain without actually saying anything. She said it flat out. It is ridiculous. She got a technical for clapping. And then she delivered the line that spread across every sports feed in the country. Everyone should just go to the calendar right now and pick the game she is going to be suspended for if she is getting technicals for clapping. Think about what that actually is. A player, hours after winning, standing at a microphone and scheduling her own suspension out loud because she does not believe the standard being used against her is real. And she went further. She said she is not changing anything. She is going to keep playing with passion, and if that keeps getting her technicals, that is their choice, not hers. This was not a one-time flare-up either. It was the 5th technical in a season that is not even at its halfway point. Go back a little over a week. Against the Connecticut Sun, Clark picked up a technical on a delay of game call after a ball went off her foot near the scorer's table. She chased it down, handed it back, and still got teed. That night she did something players almost never do. She named the referee directly, an official named Tyler, and said it felt like he wanted to insert himself into the game. And here's a detail most people miss. Clark has openly admitted these moments are not always accidental. After an earlier technical, she pointed out that getting animated with the officials actually got her to the free throw line more often afterward. So some of this fire has a purpose behind it, which makes the clapping call even stranger, because clapping is about the mildest reaction in her entire toolkit. There is also real money riding on this now. Once a player hits 4 technicals, everyone after that comes with a $1,000 fine. So the clapping call did not just move her closer to a suspension. It cost her cash for a gesture you would see in any gym in America. So her team did the obvious thing. They filed a formal appeal, and they had every reason to think they would win it, because just weeks earlier, the league had wiped away a nearly identical call. And that is where this story takes the turn nobody expected. Here is the context that makes the ending land. Earlier in the season, Dallas Wings star Paige Bueckers got a technical rescinded for a similar situation. So there was a clear recent example of the league looking at a questionable technical and simply erasing it. The Fever sent in their clips. Head coach Stephanie White called it a process, something the team had done all year. Send in the appeal, send in the footage, and wait. They waited. And on June 25th, the answer came back. The technical would stand. The WNBA reviewed a technical foul for clapping and decided Caitlin Clark deserved it. The league did not leave it a total mystery. Their head of referee performance explained the thinking. They do not want to take passion out of the game, but reactions like clapping at an official or waving them off cross a line into what gets whistled. There are, in her words, certain magic words and gestures that fall into that category. In other words, it was not really about the clap by itself. It was about who she clapped at and the heated moment it happened in. The referee, Gerda Gatling, had told Clark it was for clapping and instigating. That word instigating is the whole reason it survived the appeal. Now here is where it gets hard to defend. Watch what happened just 2 nights later. The same two teams met again on June 24th, and the game turned violent. In a scramble for a loose ball, Alyssa Thomas made contact with Clark's throat. It was not whistled in the moment. Later, Clark went up for a 3-point attempt, came down on Phoenix's Valeriani Ayayi, and tweaked her back badly enough that she exited the game early. This time the Fever lost, a heartbreaker by a final score of 111-109. Coach White did not hold back afterward. She ripped the officials for failing to protect a generational talent, arguing they let 2 cheap shots go on her star in a single night. And then the league did something revealing. About a day later, it reviewed the loose ball play, upgraded Thomas to a flagrant foul too, and suspended her for a game. Sit with that contrast. The WNBA looked at a fist to the throat and moved fast and decisively. It also looked at Caitlin Clark clapping her hands and decided that was worth keeping on her record. Both of those are the same league, the same week, making both calls. And that is the real question the whole thing leaves behind. If Bueckers got hers rescinded and Clark did not, what exactly is the standard? Because from the outside it looks less like a clear rule and more like a judgment that shifts depending on who is holding the whistle and how big the moment is. And that is a dangerous look for a league whose biggest games now revolve around this exact player. So where does it leave her? Clark is sitting at 5 technicals. She is tied with Angel Reese for the most in the league. The suspension line is 8, which means she is 3 away with more than 25 games still to play. She has already been fined. She has been warned. And she has said plainly that she is not going to change a thing. So the real question is simple. If she keeps playing with this much fire, and the league keeps calling it the way it just did, then that suspension she joked about is not a joke, it is a countdown.